I got to tell you something. I've been detailing my car here the last couple of hours, so I had to leave my garage to come in here and shoot this video report, but that's how dedicated I am to this NFL Sunday as the season is quickly winding down. You're buying this, aren't you? Actually, I got to tell you, it was like 78 degrees here yesterday, and today it's going to be like 72. It's hard for me to fathom. This is like the middle of December, and we're 10 days away from Christmas. Until, of course, when I check the weather report, I'm flying back to Philadelphia, and I see on Wednesday it's going to be a balmy 29 degrees. I don't know why I still live in Philadelphia. Anyway, we motor on. Yesterday here on the video report, I told you Navy was my second favorite play on the board. I hope you took advantage of it. Navy, easy winner. Were you concerned when they were down 7-0? I wasn't. I told you the difference in that game was going to be Malcolm Perry. What did he do? Run for 304 yards. Navy won that game with just one pass thrown, and it wasn't by their quarterback. How easy was that over Army? My best bet yesterday happened to be, once again, another raise the bar 20-dime release in college basketball. My second straight the past 2 days, following up the winner with Creighton on Friday night, as I gave you BYU in the Beehive Classic against Utah State. The Cougars were laying 1, and they won that game in Salt Lake City by 4 over the Aggies. Here on the video report, I also gave you another complimentary play on Kentucky. That was a loser. Gave you a comp winner on Gonzaga, getting the job done, handing Arizona only its second non-conference straight-up loss at the McHale Center in 63 games ever. So the Zags were a 2-point underdog in that game. I told you I thought they'd easily win the game outright. Well, it wasn't that easy, but they did win the game. Then the other play. And this is something that I have to tell you about. So the other play I gave you was Dallas Mavericks. And one of the handicappers here at the site, Jay McNeil, had a big play, a 100-dime release. His first of the season in the NBA on the Mavericks as well. Mavericks last night were laying -8 points at home against the Miami Heat. And I'll get to your free picks in here in just a minute, but I want to just point this out. So I thought it was a perfect scenario. You had the Miami Heat coming off an emotional, tough loss in the last seconds at home the prior night against the LA Lakers. Perfect handicapping scenario. You had Miami playing the second of consecutive games, but this time on the road. You know, that is money in the bank as far as I'm concerned when it comes to handicapping the NBA. And the Heat in those situations had been 0-4 in the second leg of those back-to-back situations this season. All 4 of those previous second leg games had been on the road. They lost 3 of those 4 games by double-digit margins. So it was all lined up. And what happens last night? Dallas, probably, I think, the most dominant player in the league so far in the first third of the season, Luka Doncic for the Mavs. First 2 minutes of the game last night, suffers an ankle sprain, leaves the game. The guy has 8 triple-doubles this season. He has just been the most, again, dominant player, I think, in the league this year. Leaves the game, Mavs go on, and goes into overtime, and Miami wins the game outright. You can't handicap 2 things in this life of ours: turnovers and injuries. What are you going to do? You shrug it off and you move forward. It happens every day. Some game that you're gambling or you're handicapping, a significant injury to a star player that affects the outcome. You're not a psychic. You can only handicap and analyze a game. It's like playing the stock market sometimes. You can't handicap the unforeseen. And that's what happened last night with that play. So, moving forward here in terms of the big plays today, I know myself, I'm going for a third straight raise the bar 20-dime release today. And to me, the best game on the board goes at 1 o'clock. And that third straight 20-dime release is once again going to be the half-price play of the day using coupon code RAISE, R-A-I-S-E. And that is going to be on your game between Houston and Tennessee, kicking off at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Undoubtedly, the hottest handicapper here at the site, however, would be Bob Valentino, who not only is going for winning day number 25 out of 35, or 22 out of 29, whichever streak you prefer. Bottom line, over the past 34 days, $10 bettors have made $12,860. Remember, when I give you a number like that, that's wins minus losses, including the VIG. So that's net. Not only is going for football winner number 18 out of 25, but the first 200-dime release of his career. Not in football, of his career. Double-digit route goes on the 1 o'clock Eastern Time card. Now, this guy has gone 8-1 with his 150 dime plays, 8-1, including Pittsburgh over Arizona last Sunday, which was his 6th ever in the NFL and his 5th straight in the NFL, in fact, and Clemson over Virginia last Saturday, and this play is bigger. You got them all for over half price off. Same thing today by using coupon code 200DIMER, 200DIMER. All your other discounts and promos are over on the homepage. Let's get to your complimentary plays. On the late card today, listen, the Raiders have lost 3 straight games. It's their last game in Oakland. I don't know, maybe the ghosts of George Blanda and Darryl LaMonica and Kenny Stabler and Fred Biletnikoff and Al Davis and Jim Otto. I don't know. I mean, I think there's something to be said about, these type of situations today. I think you have to play Oakland in the final game today, ever. You got to go with the Raiders. And if you look at this line, everybody else is thinking the same thing here. That's why it's up to 6.5 points. And let's face it, the Jacksonville Jaguars suck. They've lost 5 straight. They've scored a total of 57 points in that 5-game losing streak. The change from Nick Foles back to Minshew hasn't done anything to the offense. They failed to cover 6 straight games. So even though the Raiders have lost 3 straight, scoring a total of 3, 9, and 21 points respectively in those losses at the New York Jets, at the Kansas City Chiefs, and at the Tennessee Titans, it's the last game in Oakland. I've got to go with them. Now, am I a little concerned that Josh Jacobs did not play in the last game because he has a fractured shoulder plate that may not require surgery, but certainly will take about 4 to 6 weeks rest? He is questionable. He may try to gut it out and play today. Hey, I would like my chances more if Josh Jacobs was 100% healthy, but again, the ghosts of Raiders past, I say, will carry them to victory here in a game that is going to be an emotional send-off for the Silver and Black before they move to Vegas. So I like them in this spot. On the early card, Green Bay played a lackluster game against the Washington Redskins last week. I know because I had the Packers as a 15-dime loser. They're a 4.5-point favorite over the Chicago Bears, who have won 3 straight games. Who have they beat? Well, they beat the Giants, they beat the Lions, they beat the Cowboys, 3 struggling teams. Now, the Packers won earlier this season at Soldier Field. Last week against the Redskins, they looked great initially. 14-0, they took the early lead. They won 20-15. The defense only gave up 282 total yards, right? But the problem is the Packers struggled. Why did they struggle? Because Aaron Rodgers played lousy last week. He really did. He was sacked 4 times. He was 18 for 28 for 195 yards, 167 net through the air because of those sacks he endured. He also lost a fumble, too. That's thwarted a drive. He has to play better because Aaron Jones certainly did his part with a season-high 134 yards and rushing and 192 total yards. The Packers have got to get Aaron Rodgers untracked. Otherwise, that season-high 10 wins, or those 10 wins mean nothing if he doesn't start playing better. I say he starts playing better today against the Bears in this key divisional matchup. 4.5 points is the number. I'm buying down the half point on Green Bay in this spot. Here's an interesting game for you on the early card. Tampa Bay is a 5.5-point favorite at Detroit. The Lions are coming off a 20-7 home loss to Minnesota. They've lost 6 in a row, 9 out of 10. The Bucs are coming off a 38-35 win at home against Indianapolis, but let's face it, they were down by 14 points in the fourth quarter of that game. They've won 4 of their last 5 overall, but the lone loss coming against New Orleans. Jameis Winston, he fractured a bone in his thumb in that game against the Colts. Mike Evans is out for Tampa. Winston, he could go for the triple-double, I guess, right? He's second in the league in yards thrown with a little over 4,100. He leads the league with, 26 touchdown passes and I think 23 or 24 interceptions. I think the way to play this game is maybe look at the over, but I'm willing instead to pass the total here and go with Tampa. This offense has certainly played well. They've scored at least 28 points in 5 of the last 6 games, and the Lions are certainly a willing participant when it comes to their defense being porous. So I like Tampa in this one minus the points. The Sunday night game. This is a Pittsburgh team that has gotten it done with a stingy defense. They've won 3 in a row, 7 of the last 8. The Bills are coming off a tough physical loss at home, 24-17 to Baltimore. That snapped their 3-game win streak. I am surprised at how well the Steelers have played, but Mike Tomlin has rallied this team despite all the quarterback issues. The only game they've lost in this stretch has been that game at Cleveland. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh at home here. -1. You're talking about a pick'em game. I like the Steelers. So, of these plays, how would I rank them? I would take Oakland number 1. I would take Pittsburgh number 2. I would take Green Bay number 3. And I would take Tampa Bay as a distant number 4. That'll do it. Wish you well and talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.